हेलो नमस्ते, माय नेम इज निधि नागौरी एंड वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज का टॉपिक बहुत ही खास है क्योंकि आज हम बात करने वाले हैं ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग की। ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग इन इंडिया, ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग इन कंट्रीज आउटसाइड ऑफ इंडिया। और आज जो हमारे साथ गेस्ट हैं संतोष, उनके साथ हम ये भी बात करेंगे कि क्या होता है एक्चुअल में अटेम्प्ट्स की वैल्यू, क्या आपके अटेम्प्ट्स मैटर करते हैं। मुझे लगता है ये सारे टॉपिक्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं। सो आई ऑलवेज वांट टू कवर of course all the fields that are possible, but I also want to cover the real questions that you face when you go out in the field as a chartered accountant. Santosh is a chartered accountant. कमाल की बात तो ये है कि उन्होंने अपना CA multiple attempts में किया है. He went on to work in transfer pricing in a very short span. His career has spread from India to Singapore to now London. So we're going to figure out, do attempts really matter? If not, then what does matter? And what really is transfer pricing? And how fluid is it? How easy is it to find opportunities in? We're going to ask all these questions to Santosh. Before we move on to the video, as always, do not forget to give this video down below a big thumbs up. Leave your questions in the comments below and I'll request Santosh to answer you for them. If you have any other thoughts for different videos, let me know in the comments below. As always, subscribe to my channel. And now let's go and talk to Santosh. Who are you and what's your background?
Sure. Thanks, Nidhi, first of all, for giving me an opportunity to connect with so many people across the globe. Santosh led Bunch. I am based out of London. I am a financial services transfer pricing specialist. I cleared my chartered accountancy 8 years back. And after I cleared my chartered accountancy, I landed myself into my dream job at PricewaterhouseCoopers. What exactly is transfer pricing? To explain to you guys in a very simple language, transfer pricing has got something to do with tax-based erosion in a country. Now, how do you explain tax-based erosion? As you all already know, each one of you at your personal levels pay income taxes. Similarly, corporates pay taxes at their levels. And in order for a government to charge tax, it has to create a base. And that base is made up of contributions of income like yours, like mine, like corporates, various trusts, various partnership firms, a lot of these businesses that you all know about, that you can think about, are all contributors to the base of the governments of respective countries. And that's how respective governments charge taxes. Now, how is transfer pricing associated with that? In simple words, transfer pricing is a mechanism by which related parties charge prices to each other for various services or various commodities that they exchange. Now, what is that? For example, let's imagine that you are in a business of construction of flats with your brother. Now, for construction of flats, what do you need? You need cement, you need bricks, you need various raw materials. Okay? Now, you see that when you get these raw materials from third parties who provide you raw materials like cement, bricks, steel, and whatnot, they would obviously be charging you for all these materials at the market prices.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to realize that your brother is also in the business of providing these raw materials like cement, steel, and XYZ, do you think your brother would be charging you the same market price?
No.
Right?
For sure not.
Your brother would be saying that, he's my blood. Why should I charge him more? Let me charge him 10% less than what I would charge to a third party. Because he's my brother, I would like to charge him 10% less. Now, what happened here is that when he undercharged you by 10%, government lost its revenue by 10%. Had he charged you like a normal third party, government would have been able to collect taxes on the 10% more.
More, right?
So this is what here we are talking about, tax-based erosion, and this is what we do in transfer pricing, whereby we look at the prices that related parties charge to each other in the global transactions. The likes of Unilever, the likes of all the multinationals that you can think of, P&G, Nestle, all these big brands. For example, automobile giants like Hyundai, who export motor units in India, where they will find.
I want to ask a very personal question here. When we talk about CA, we always talk about attempts. And how do you look at it? And I've been a first attempt CA, so a lot of people tell me that I do not understand what it is like when your attempts are counted. But what do you think about it? And do you think attempts matter when it comes to a field like transfer pricing?
Wow, that's an amazing question. To be honest, I'm not a first attempt pass out. I took multiple attempts in my CA final exam. To be precise, I am a third attempt pass out. And I take pride in mentioning that because I know the value of failure. If I wouldn't have failed in my life, I would not have been humble enough to appreciate the value of great things in life. And at the same time, for people who have never seen failures, I think I can easily say that I'm more mature to handle failures than someone who has not seen a failure. And I think it's important to respect the fact that each one of us have our own journeys.
Yeah.
First of all, we can never compare ourselves with anybody than your attempts. And if you have the attitude of working hard, and if you're sincere and you're dedicated, I think nobody can stop you in achieving the heights that you aim for yourself.
I do want to ask you, how is transfer pricing as a field for international opportunities? You've gotten an international opportunity from it. I'm from audit, so my understanding is pretty much limited to audit. So how do you look at transfer pricing in as a field for international opportunities?
Wow. So transfer pricing definitely has a world of opportunities for you get in if you want to work across various countries in the world. Definitely, it is one of those very few fields as chartered accountants that you get other than audit to be able to apply in any part of the world. But do remember that if you want to apply for global opportunities, you have to dirty your hands in India for at least 3 to 4 years. Overseas opportunities come your way only after you have a good amount of experience, because the concepts that you get to practice in India are definitely complex when compared to global issues and global challenges, but they are definitely not as complicated as global. So overseas guys definitely prefer that whenever they hire from India, whenever they hire any talent from India, they definitely look at hiring people who are already experienced in the subject, like transfer pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. So for international opportunities, do you think that you had to do something else apart from your CA? Just to understand, so for example, now that you're working in London, did you have to do something apart from the CA to get to that opportunity in London?
Nothing really. I'm just a CA. While I definitely wanted to study more, and I've tried studying more. So having said that, even if you are just a CA, it's more than sufficient as long as you have a good experience of about 3 to 4 years at least. And one best thing about transfer pricing is that the fundamentals and concepts of transfer pricing are across the globe. Any country you go, you don't have to study afresh. Your application concepts is exactly the same, except some minor modifications as per the local taxation rules. That's it. Otherwise, fundamentally, it works just the same.
How has your experience been? You said you moved pretty early on in your career. So it's been about 5 years now that you've been, and have you sort of worked anywhere else apart from being in London?
I started my career off in Mumbai.
Okay.
And early on, I got an opportunity to work in Singapore. So it was just about 2.5 years of my career in transfer pricing. My partner was kind enough to nominate me for an overseas secondment. So PwC for little over 2 years, and I came back to India about a year and a half. Give it back to the firm for the opportunities that they gave me. So I was in Mumbai for about 1.5 years until I moved to London last year once again.
Okay.
So yeah. So from a overall experience perspective, if you ask me, whilst I was in India, I also worked on Sri Lankan transfer pricing projects, a couple of Bangladesh projects. So covered countries like India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Singapore, hands-on experience, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. And now I'm in Europe, so London.
I want to know that how can one start off in transfer pricing? I know there are some big fours that offer articleship in it, but what if you don't really have an articleship in transfer pricing? How would you recommend somebody should start off in this field?
To be honest, even I did not have any prior transfer pricing experience, and even if you don't get to do any internship in transfer pricing, it's just fine. As a fresher chartered accountant, you're good enough to get your ball rolling in transfer pricing, and it's not something, as I said, as complicated. It's all about application of sheer skills.
As a CA, what do you think? What are the additional skills that one should have to get good opportunities? Domestically, internationally, whatever. I know soft skills for me is a big thing. I do think that a lot of us struggle with just having good communication skills. So, anything that you figured with all this experience that you've amassed that chartered accountants should probably work on more?
Wow, that's good. To be honest, communication skills is one that I really believe most of the chartered lack. And let's accept it. If we try to fool ourselves, there's no other bigger foolish than us. So we need to admit the fact that whilst we may be technically and fundamentally amazing professionals, our analytical skills may be good, but we are definitely not good enough when it comes to communications. We definitely need to work on our communication skills, like public speaking, when it comes to going for meetings, be it meetings with tax officials or your clients. I've seen so many chartered accountants, with due respect, who do not present themselves well enough for any meetings. Like, if you look at them, you won't even believe that person, with due respect, may be a chartered accountant. So do yourself well enough. Nobody will buy you. Remember that, because there are so many chartered accountants in the market. Why should I hire you? Everybody knows the act. Everybody has passed the exam, so definitely they know the act. As regards work, if I train anybody can do the work. So why do I hire you? What stands out to you? That's your communication skills, your ability to convert anything that you sell, your ability to convince the opposite person to believe you, your ability to communicate in as many words the meaning, what you want to communicate in as many paragraphs. So it's all about how you talk. It's all about how you present yourself.
Right. You're completely right in that. I 100% concur with you. I just have one last question for you. What is the message for any CA who's seen this, who's probably already, first attempt is gone. They're already probably that multiple attempt fear has come in, and they're thinking they're never going to make it. They're not going to get a good job. They're not going to get global exposure. So to all of them, and to anybody who wants to do transfer pricing, what is it that you'd like to tell them?
Well, as I said, I think key is never compare with anybody. Believe in yourself, believe in your abilities. If you don't back yourself, nobody else will. And if you really work hard, if you're sincere in your efforts, if you're dedicated in your efforts, nobody can take away what you want to achieve in your life. Failure, as I said, makes you more mature, makes you appreciate great things in life better, and that eventually makes you more humble, more grounded, and a better professional than anybody else. So never take failure as something to look down upon at. Always be mindful that those proverbs, failure is a stepping stone to success. Someone has said it not just for fun. There's definitely a lot of meaning to it, and I can personally tell you out of my own practical experiences, because I have failed too, and I'm a failure too. I take pride in saying that there's no shame or there's no guilt in saying that we fail. It's fine. Failing is fine as long as you learn your lessons, move on in life, and never repeat your mistakes. And for all those people who feel that becoming or clearing or passing out to be a chartered accountant is not a milestone, it's not the end of the world. Your real journey begins after you become a chartered accountant. And you and only you can define whether you make that journey a worthwhile or not.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Santosh. This was beautiful and brilliant. And I mean, you don't need my good wishes, but I have to tell you this, that I've rarely seen so much confidence in a peer. And I'm so proud that I did this interview, and I'm so glad that I get to connect with people like yourself. So I wish you all the best, and I know you'll do excellent things. So thank you so much. Guys, I'm also dropping Santosh's LinkedIn link below. Of course, connect with him, but make sure that you always keep in mind that he's working. So he's going to respond to you. Be patient with it. Thank you so much once again. Wishing you all the best, and a better weekend ahead.
Thanks so much, Nidhi. Thanks once again for the amazing platform that allows me to connect with students and many professionals in the world. And I think you're doing an amazing job of creating a platform where people can come by and just clear out their doubts, their anxieties, and get some or the other guidance in any form that you're being able to. So you're doing a great job for the society, and I'm really proud of people like you who are giving it in their own ways to the profession and to the people in the world. So hats off to you. Keep doing the great job that you do. Wish you the same, and wishing you the best luck in your future endeavors, and happy to stay connected. Thank you once again for this.
Thank you.